I need everyone to hold their questions until I've walked through the full deck. We've put significant work into the sequencing of this material, and I won't have that disrupted.
I wasn't disrupting anything. Slide 19 has a 3-scenario revenue model I built personally. The Ashford team would benefit from hearing the assumptions directly from me.
Camille, I don't know what you thought your role in this meeting was, but it wasn't that. Sit back, stay quiet, and let the people who actually prepared this presentation finish it.
The CEO laughed, small, reflexive, the kind of laugh that does not know it is a weapon. Camille did not look at him. She looked at the screen. Slide 19. Her 3-scenario projection model, the one she had built across 4 consecutive weekends, the one that accounted for Meridian's southeast market exposure in a way no external consultant had ever bothered to calculate. Her numbers, her color-coded risk bands, her logic dressed in Marcus Holt's name. He was on slide 19 of 47. This is what workplace racism looks like when it has a salary and a parking spot. It does not announce itself. It stands at a podium and reads your sentences in its own voice and waits for the applause, and the room gives it willingly because the room does not know to look at who is sitting 3 chairs to the left, jaw set, hands still. Camille Dupree had been a senior strategy analyst at Meridian Group for 12 years. The one thing people who worked with her remembered, the detail that separated her from every other analyst on that floor, was that she never shared an idea verbally before she had already sent it in writing. Every framework, every model, every repositioning argument existed in an email or a document with a timestamp before it ever left her mouth. She had been doing it so long it had become reflex. Not paranoia, preparation. The kind of preparation that looks like nothing until the day it looks like everything. That day was today. She just hadn't moved yet. Have you ever sat somewhere and watched a person take something from you so cleanly that the room actually clapped for them, and you had to decide in that moment whether to burn it down or let them think they won? Tell me in the comments what you would have done. And subscribe to Ghetto Gala, because the people who need this story most are already in the middle of their own version of it. And what happens next is exactly why they cannot stop watching. Marcus clicked to slide 22. Camille's market segmentation framework, her headers, her citation format, the bracket style she had developed herself over 2 years of quarterly filings. He had changed one color on the legend. She raised her hand, measured, the way she had raised it 1,000 times. The CEO glanced at her, then back at Marcus. Let Marcus finish, Camille. First time he said it. She lowered her hand. Her name badge lay face down on the mahogany table beside her water glass. She had not put it that way. 18 months before that boardroom, Marcus Holt looked Camille dead in the eye and called her the most strategic mind he had encountered at her level. He said at her level like it was a compliment. She let it pass because she needed to believe he meant well. That was the last time she gave him the benefit of anything. The Tuesday sessions started the week after. Small conference room, 4th floor. The AC unit in there had been broken since February. It pushed warm, stale air through a vent above the door that made the room feel like the inside of something closed. Marcus came in every week with a yellow legal pad and nothing written on it. Camille came in with her laptop, her frameworks, her thinking already organized into layers a person could actually use. He called it a mentorship, asked her to walk him through her process. Said process, the way people say it when they mean open the hood and step back. She walked him through all of it. The southeast exposure calculation, the repositioning logic, the 3-scenario revenue model she had stress-tested against 6 quarters of Meridian's own historical data before she trusted a single number in it. She laid it out in plain language because she trusted the room. He nodded, wrote occasional words on his yellow pad, told her she was exceptional and scheduled the next session before he left. What those sessions actually were What Marcus had built and used before Camille and would have used again after her was a system. He had run the same structure at his previous company. Find the person doing the thinking nobody is watching. Build access under the cover of investment. Extract the architecture piece by piece and rebuild it upstream with your name on the foundation. The institution never investigates because the institution benefits from the result. The analyst never gets believed because the analyst has no title. He had watched it work before. He expected it to work again. He did not know who he was sitting across from. Did you ever trust someone with your thinking, really trust them, and then have to watch them use it like it was always theirs? Have you been in that room? Tell me in the comments, because I need to know I am not telling this story into the air. And subscribe to Ghetto Gala, not because we asked you to, but because you found this channel for a reason, and the next story is going to remind you of that reason all over again. Now back to Camille, because 6 weeks before that boardroom, she did something Marcus never anticipated. She submitted the completed deck to him on a Tuesday morning, 47 slides, her name in the header of every single page, marked confidential, sent at 9:17 a.m. At 9:44 a.m., she forwarded the identical document to Devon Ashford's team at Ashford Capital. Standard client protocol. Routine. The kind of email that disappears into an inbox until the day someone needs to find it. Devon's assistant confirmed receipt at 10:02 a.m. Marcus was already in his next meeting. The HR director's name was Patrice Welling. She had a motivational print behind her desk, "Speak up, be heard," and she spent 22 minutes explaining to Camille why what happened in that boardroom was not what Camille said happened in that boardroom. The internal server showed the deck filed under Marcus Holt's project folder. Had been there 3 weeks. Patrice turned the monitor toward Camille like she was presenting evidence. Like Camille was the one who needed to see something she didn't already know. The metadata had been touched, not deleted, adjusted. The kind of thing that doesn't announce tampering but confirms it to anyone who knows what original file architecture looks like. Camille knew exactly what it looked like. She also knew that saying so in that office to that woman under that print was not where this got one. So she sat with her hands folded and let Patrice finish. What Patrice said, in the particular language HR uses when it has already decided and needs you to feel heard anyway, was that Marcus Holt was the VP of Growth Strategy, that the deck had been submitted under his division, that if Camille felt her contributions had been under-acknowledged, there were internal channels available to her. There was a process. There was, Patrice said, touching her lanyard when she said it, the silver clip catching the fluorescent light above them. Always room for a conversation about career development. Career development. A man had stood in a room and performed 90 minutes of her mind for a board and a $41 million client. And the institution's answer was career development. Camille asked one question. She asked whether her original submission email sent to Marcus on a Tuesday morning, her name on every page, was accessible in the system. Patrice typed for a moment, said the email chain showed an attachment, but the file had been archived under the project folder per standard protocol. Standard protocol. Have you ever walked into a room looking for justice and walked out holding a pamphlet? Have you ever watched an institution look you in the face and choose the lie because the lie was easier to administrate? Tell me in the comments, because what Camille was sitting inside of has a name, and I think you already know it. And subscribe to Ghetto Gala, because this story is not finished and neither are the ones that come after it, and you will want to be here for those too. Now Camille was already standing. She thanked Patrice, straightened her jacket at the lapel with 2 fingers, walked out. The corridor back to the elevator past Marcus's office. Door open. He was on the phone, chair tilted back, one hand behind his head. The laugh came down the hallway before she reached the door, full, Easy, the laugh of a man who has not yet been told to worry. She didn't slow down, didn't look in. But his whiteboard was visible through the gap. Her section headers, his handwriting still up in blue marker. Like he hadn't even considered taking them down. Her section headers, his handwriting, she kept walking. Back at her desk, Camille opened her laptop and did not touch the 4 unread internal emails sitting in her inbox. She went straight to her sent folder, scrolled to a Tuesday 6 weeks prior. The email to Devin Ashford's team was exactly where she had left it, timestamp 9:44 a.m., subject line reading Meridian Transformation Initiative, client reference copy, attachment confirmed delivered. She didn't open it. Just looked at it the way you look at something you planted in the ground a long time ago that is finally about to break the surface. Then she opened a blank document and started building a chronology. Not a complaint, not a formal grievance. A document a complete stranger could read in 4 minutes and understand exactly what had happened and in what order. Every Tuesday session with Marcus dated. Every framework she had walked him through named in one line. Every internal email where she had committed an idea to writing before she spoke it aloud in a room. She had the raw material already. 2 years of it filed and time-stamped. She was not building the case. She was assembling what had always been there. 90 minutes, no stops. When she finished, she saved it in 3 separate places, closed it, and went to get coffee. The break room smelled like burnt grounds and whatever someone had reheated in the microwave, something with onions, something that had been sealed in a container since the day before. 2 analysts from her team were at the counter when she walked in. Both of them had been in her working sessions. Both of them had watched Marcus present her architecture to the board without blinking. When Camille pushed open the door, their conversation didn't stop, it thinned, drew itself back. One of them smiled at her. The other found something urgent on his phone that had not been urgent 4 seconds earlier. Neither of them said a word about the presentation. She poured her coffee, said good morning, left. This was the part nobody named when they talked about what workplace racism actually cost a person. Not the villain, the witnesses. The people who sat in the working sessions, who watched her build it layer by layer, who knew and who had calculated in the privacy of their own self-interest that their silence was not betrayal. Just caution. Just not their place. Just not the right time. Their silence had a physical weight. She felt it leaving that break room the way you feel a room decide it does not owe you anything. She sat back down and wrote 1 email, 4 words in the body. Subject line, Ray Meridian Initiative follow-up. The 4 words, I'll prepare the materials. She did not copy Marcus, did not copy anyone. Devin Ashford's office confirmed the debrief for 9 a.m. the following morning. At 4:15 p.m. Marcus sent a calendar invite with himself listed as lead presenter. Camille accepted it without a word and closed her laptop at 5 o'clock exactly. Tomorrow already knew what it was. Marcus walked into that boardroom at 8:57 a.m. with a printed agenda and a fresh clicker. He had added slides overnight. Camille could tell because the kerning on the new transitions didn't match. He had not noticed. She had noticed before she sat down. Devin Ashford was already in the room, not across the table where clients usually positioned themselves, at the head. In the chair the CEO occupied every other meeting. He had a leather folder in front of him, both hands resting flat on top of it, and he did not stand when Marcus entered. Did not offer the warmth he'd shown in the lobby the previous morning. He looked at his watch instead. Once. Deliberate. Marcus set his clicker on the table and pulled up the deck. His name in the title slide. His division in the footer. He said he wanted to open with some context from the initial presentation before moving into the follow-up material. Devin said, "Before you do." That was all, just that, 3 words. But the air in that room changed on them, not loud, not dramatic, the way air changes before something load-bearing finally gives. The CEO shifted in his seat. Camille kept her hands flat on the table. Devin opened the folder. He slid a document across the mahogany in Camille's direction. Printed, paper-clipped, 47 pages on Ashford capital letterhead. The header read, Meridian Transformation Initiative, a 12-month revenue repositioning strategy. Below it, flush left, in the same font Camille had used on every document she had produced at Meridian for 2 years. Prepared by Camille Dupree, Senior Strategy Analyst, Meridian Group. Devin said he had assumed she would be presenting her own work today. Said he had reviewed the document thoroughly before arriving. Said he had questions, and he wanted to direct them to the person who had actually built the models. Marcus's clicker was still in his hand. Right now, if you have been in Camille's seat at any point in your life, if you have ever needed one person to just see it and say it out loud, are you breathing? Because Devin Ashford just did the thing every single person in that institution refused to do. Tell me in the comments whether you ever had someone go to bat for you like that, or whether you're still waiting. And subscribe to Ghetto Gala, because the people in these stories are real, and so is what happens next, and you are not going to want to find out about it after the fact. Marcus said the document was a preliminary draft, said his team had built substantially on top of it. His voice carried the shape of confidence, but not the weight of it anymore. The way a man speaks when he is performing calm because the alternative is visible collapse. Devin looked at him without responding. Then he looked at the CEO. The CEO looked at the table. Devin said he would like a few minutes alone with Ms. Dupree and the leadership team. Said it the way people say things that were never actually requests. Marcus was still holding the clicker when the hand landed on his shoulder. The door clicked shut behind Marcus, and nobody in that room watched him go. Not Devin, not the CEO, not Camille. She was looking at the document in front of her, her name in the header, her models on pages 7, 19, and 31, her bracket citation format on every page that carried data. 12 months of Saturday mornings and Sunday evenings and Tuesday sessions, where she had laid her thinking out on a table for a man she had trusted with it. All of it sitting right there on Ashford capital letterhead, dated, printed, confirmed received 6 weeks before Marcus Holt stood in this same room and took his bow. Devin asked her 3 questions about the Southeast exposure model. She answered all 3 without opening her laptop. The numbers lived in her the way a childhood address lives in a person, not retrieved, just known. The CEO watched her answer the 3rd question and said nothing for a long moment after she finished. Devin closed the folder, looked at the CEO directly, said Ashford Capital's continued partnership with Meridian, a contract valued at $41 million across the next 3 fiscal years, was contingent on his confidence in the firm's strategic leadership. Said he had that confidence. He was looking at Camille when he said it, not the CEO, not the empty chair where Marcus had been sitting 11 minutes ago. Camille. The CEO called legal from inside the room. Marcus's keycard stopped working at 2:34 p.m. Security met him at his office door, not the elevator, not the lobby, his office door, while his computer was still open and his coffee was still on his desk. His personal items went into a standard issue box. He carried it through the corridor himself, past the break room, past the 4th floor conference room with the broken AC unit, past every Tuesday he had ever sat across from her, and called her exceptional while he emptied her out. At 4:11 p.m., the CEO sat across from Camille in a 6th floor conference room, just the 2 of them. He slid a folder across the table, VP of Growth Strategy, her name already populated in the org chart update, pending her signature. He said the role was hers, and he said it without the particular confidence of a man who had earned the right to offer it. Camille picked up the folder, set it back down. She said she would need 24 hours. The CEO said of course, said absolutely. Said take all the time she needed, and something moved across his face that he did not have a name for yet. She left the building at 4:29 p.m. Have you ever been handed something that was already yours and felt something other than relief, something quieter and heavier and harder to explain to someone who hasn't lived it? Tell me what that felt like for you. Drop a comment and let me know. And subscribe to Ghetto Gala because somebody in your life needs this story tonight and doesn't know it yet. She walked back in the next morning at 8:06 a.m. Coffee in one hand, new name badge on her lapel, face up. What she said in those 24 hours, who she called, what she asked for, what number she finally put on 12 years of herself. Nobody in that building ever said out loud.